Hi everyone, and welcome to the Tony Tompkins Show, along with my mate Avery. So I'm just going to give you a sense as to what we're going to talk about today, which will be inspiring, different, challenging to say the least, because I've just had a chat to Avery and he's in a very challenging mood, I hasten to add. So we might find that we're having arguments about stuff along the way. Who knows? But the two things I guess that we're going to talk about today, and Paul has already mentioned this, Paul Hoover, who's already posted if everyone has had time to digest the astonishing election of Zoran Mamdani. And Avery and I have. And I think this is a conversation that we're going to indulge ourselves in for most of this conversation. So let us know what you think about this. And Paul's asked me to turn up the sound. Paul, I can't turn it up any more than it is, otherwise it would be distorted. So might need to turn it up at your end, buddy. So one of the things that I guess for me, and just setting the tone around all of this, is the fact that that I wonder the implications of Mamdani's election. And there's some nuances, and Avery and I are going to talk about at the moment as to what probably made this campaign a little bit different in terms of the candidates. But also, does it have an effect on Australia? Are there messages, not effect, that's not true. Are there messages that we could learn from this particular win and also compare it with the other Democratic wins right across the United States? Because they were different candidates presenting issues in a different way. And the male in this group, the Muslim dude, he presented it as a progressive. Some people refer to him, and Avery and I are going to talk about that in a moment too. Referred to him as a communist. It was more a socialist, whatever that might mean. And I think we need to tease out, Avery, in a moment what actually all of that means. We'll have that conversation as well. And so we're going to have this conversation. Now, the other thing too, if we've got time about all of this, is that so we allot between 40 and 50 minutes for these conversations, but who knows? I think the last one we did went for an hour. But and we're also going to have a chat perhaps about a correlated issue, which is Pauline Hanson going to CPAC and talking to them and Donald Trump about Australian politics and what that means to us, and also the relationship between Pauline Hanson, Barnaby Joyce, and the Conservatives here in Australia. So there is a lot to talk about, and I hope that my audio is okay for you, Paul. But just turn up your own volume if you find it loud, because my indicators here tell me that it's almost peaking. So, okay, now I almost forgot. There is a person online that we must bring in, because this conversation would be pointless without him, and that is my buddy Avery. Good to see you, mate.
Good. How are you, Tony?
I'm very good, very fired up today after yesterday's Democratic win. I don't know why that is, but
You're talking about your sound. Every time you go to emphasize something, or you get you're bouncing close to the mic, your voice distorts.
Well, I have a very distorted voice. I'll just push my microphone further away.
That's
okay. I spend years trying to get my audio right, making it better, because without good audio, your podcast is a load of shit. They tell me, so I've spent a lot.
When you're facing away from the microphone like you are right now, you're not pointing directly at it. It's fine.
Right. Okay. So, did you watch the Mamdani speech?
Yes, I definitely did.
And what was? I'll give you my take on it in a moment. Let's start with you. You give us your take. Let's have some comments. If anybody else, I know Paul's watched it. I think PWR may have. There's a few people online right at the moment. If you've watched it, let us know what you think, and I'll feed that stuff on screen when we can. What do you think, Avery?
Well, I thought he did. I thought he was really good. A lot of what he had to say, I think it came across as though this is a little soundbite you can pick out and then use in another campaign somewhere. Lots of just little, like his thing about, I've got 4 words for you, Mr. Trump.
Yeah,
that was a brilliant line, and a perfect thing to pick out and throw into an advert for the 2026 midterms. Throw in an advert for the presidential election in 2028. I think I believe that when he was doing that, preparing that speech that he gave last night, he was thinking about the midterms and thinking about the presidential election and how what he's got to say can possibly be used. A brilliant young man, I think.
Yep, yep. And I just noticed, I've got Avery Hilditch up there now. Yes, I thought so. I thought so too. I thought that he had a lot of. I thought he had a lot of valuable things to say. One of the most compelling, I think, was that he took the attack up to Donald Trump and to the Republican Party in general.
Yeah.
And he was, there were some criticisms from Democrats, I noticed on CNN straight afterwards, suggesting that he changed his tone because he became more aggressive during this. And it's almost like, oh God, as a Democrat, you've got to be kind, you've got to be gentle. You can't be aggressive, Avery. There's no way in the world you can express aggression and forthrightness and become authoritative. You can't do that if you're a Democrat. Only Republicans can do that.
Yeah, Michelle, in what was it, 2016 election, Michelle Obama said, "When they go low, we go high." No, you fight them. You fight the fight the way they want to fight it. Because if you don't fight, you're going to lose.
I heard someone. I heard someone say just that fact too, that the response has been, and particularly from Gavin Newsom, has been now, when you go low, I'm just going to go fucking lower and beat you in the teeth. I'm just going to treat you that. And I think it's an interesting way to conduct politics because we've always argued, I guess, that politics has been dirty. But when one side chooses to be dirty, then I guess sometimes the only response, like if someone punches you in the face, I don't advocate violence. I want you to know that I'm a pacifist. But if someone punches you in the face, there is a temptation to punch them back, I guess, or to find another way to fight back that's almost as aggressive. So,
if you think about what the government in the United States is like right now, it's led by a fascist. They are fascists to the core. The Republican Party now, and just imagine what it would be like if people back in what's his name? What was his name? Neville Chamberlain. That's exactly how he spoke to Hitler. Right? We're not gonna talk back at him. We're not gonna shout him down or anything like that. We're going to be nice people because we are nice people. And what did it achieve? 58 million dead. And
this, I guess, also this notion that that we need to believe. Like I get really upset with this stuff. People say, "Well, Trump tells us what he's going to do, and we should believe him." Well, Trump lies so much that can we always believe? It's a contradiction. How am I supposed to believe what Trump says if Trump tells us what he's going to do, but he lies so much about most things? And he doesn't do, and I disagree with him. I don't think he does everything that he says he's going to do. The thing about Mamdani is that that bar that he needs to get over is actually so low. But then he's raised the sights of where he wants to go in terms of all the changes he wants to make in New York. I wonder whether he's now extended that bar to a point whereby it will be a challenge to jump over it, if you know what I mean.
One of the things that impressed me about Mamdani was that he has got the people of New York to vote for something and not against something. Do you know what I mean? They voted for him. They voted for his policies. And I don't think it wasn't like in 2020 the vote for Biden in a lot of ways was just a big referendum against Trump. Right, and I don't think the vote in New Jersey or Virginia or New York was a vote against Trump. It was a vote for what the candidates want to do. It was much, to me, it was much more positive than just, well, it's better than Trump sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think the other significant thing that we need to note here, mate, is that and this is the thing I want to talk about Australian elections too, is that the Gen Z vote was extremely high. I think from memory it was up over 60%. And so, in the United States, it's about motivating people to vote because they don't have they don't have involuntary voting or voluntary. What do we call it? Compulsory voting. They don't have compulsory voting, and so they have to motivate people to come and vote. The question really is, what do you think so many young people came out to vote on this particular occasion?
Because they're tired of old farts like you and me being the ones that run the country.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
You nailed it. And there's been some commentary. There's been some commentary about that too.
They're even more tired of old fat fascists like Trump in the country. And just, I mean, the Democrats said he's going to do his best to line his pockets. He doesn't give a shit about you. Nobody's paid any attention to him, right? People like me were saying he's going to line his pockets because he doesn't give a shit about you. And they just ignore. Who cares what I've got to say? The Yanks certainly don't hear it or care about it. But they fucked around and they found out. And the Gen Z people have said, no, I don't like that. I don't want any of that. And they have voted against a lot of the Gen Zers. They like what Mamdani was saying, what Cheryl was saying, and I can't remember the other one, Spamberger, what they were saying, right? And they liked the proposals that they were making, and they voted for them. It was a vote against Trump as well, but Trump said this morning he wasn't on the ballot. If he'd been on the ballot, we'd have won. No, if he'd been on the ballot, it would have been an absolute drubbing that they'd have got. It wouldn't have been 16 points that Mamdani won by. It would have been, 36 points or 46 points.
Yeah, and the point that we need to make too around that is that Trump won't be on the ballot ever again unless he decides to find a way to wangle a third term. So he's not going to be there anyway. So, who gives a shit where that stands? I think there's a couple of things you've said that really are relevant here that we perhaps need to talk about. And that is across the board. And this is us looking at what can we learn from what happened in the US. And one of them is Mandani's young. He's Muslim, so that doesn't matter. He speaks about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. He's bringing some really radical views which are confronting the oligarchs and the wealthy in that country. And he wishes to make some pretty dramatic and drastic changes in the US. And the other candidates you talk about, the women, the governor races in particular, so they had a different perspective, Avery. They worked a little bit differently. They didn't do the same sort of widespread, let's make all these changes things. They talked about the issues. So they talked about cost of living and energy and housing. So the same sort of things that we talk about here in Australia, they also talked about. So there's this sort of like this breadth of different things that were discussed, all of which impacted the elections, and I think that was an interesting take. Do you know what I mean? Like from Mandani to the others who were women, discussing issues which were relevant to them and to their communities, and weren't as radical as the stuff that Mandani was talking about.
Well, some of the things they weren't talking about universal childcare, for example. You're right. They weren't.
No, they weren't. No.
Mamdani's idea, universal childcare, great idea. A difference between a thing to think about, right, is in the presidential election last year, Kamala Harris was talking about those very issues, right, about the cost of groceries and stuff, but she was talking at too high a level. She was talking about income inequality and how companies like Purdy's are gouging people, and Walmart or whoever, the big companies, they're price gouging all the time. it was too high a level. And I'm not saying the average voter is stupid. They're not. But she was talking above them. And the difference with Spamberger and Cheryl and Mamdani is that they were talking to the people at the level that they wanted. They were talking about the cost of their groceries, the price, how much it costs for them to put put food on the table, how much it costs for them to get to fill the car so they can go and do their shopping. Right?
I think you're right. They were talking about issues that people understood.
Yeah, they were talking to them in a way that they would understand it.
And I think the other key issue there too, Avery, is that they were talking about issues that mattered to them because Trump and his administration are not.
Yeah.
So Trump has done nothing about egg prices and fuel and all those other things that he said he was going to address. He's done zilch about any of that. So as a result of that, he's left this space.
Sorry.
And this is the bizarre thing. They've left, because they've ignored it, they've left this space wide open for other people to come in and have those conversations, because there's nothing, these people have got nothing to, the Trump administration and the Republicans have got nothing they could speak to because nothing has been done.
Trump and the Republicans have done something about grocery prices and gas prices. They've pushed them up.
Yeah.
It's tariffs, which that I saw a thing this morning on he appeared on ABC. No, he was on the Oprah Winfrey show about 35, 40 years ago, where he's talking about, if I was ever president, I would impose these tariffs because that country, China is screwing the United States, and they would pay us trillions of dollars if we. He didn't then, when he had a functioning brain, understand how tariffs work, and now here he is, 40 years later, with a brain that's barely functional, and he's still saying exactly the same crap about tariffs. He put all those tariffs, and you put a tariff on oil, price of everything goes up because everything is moved by the product of the petrochemical industry. He has done things about prices, but not what he said he was going to do. He hasn't reduced the prices in any way. He hasn't taken any steps to reduce them. He was going to do that all on day one. Hasn't done any of that. All he's done is push the prices up. And
I think, Avery, the other thing that's occurred, which needs to be noteworthy, is the fact that there have been a lot of troops, unwanted, placed into suburbs and cities where they're not wanted, and they've seen ICE come in and remove people whom should not have been removed, that were citizens of the United States. And all of that compounds, I think, to create an environment where particularly young people are going to say, enough is enough of that. I don't want to see that in my cities anymore. I'm going to make a stand. And then I think the interesting thing too, which hasn't been talked about, was the No Kings rally, and whether or not the No Kings rally also congealed a lot of people's views around what was happening with Trump and set them up almost to have this conversation or this electoral defeat of the Republicans, because there's so many people now who are upset with all of these issues that we've just talked about.
Yeah, I think the No Kings rallies have given permission to people to talk and express their opposition to what Trump's doing. Just the way Trump gave permission, if you know what I mean, for the hateful bigotry that we see coming out with a lot of Americans now. The anti-Semitism, the Islamophobia, homophobia, transphobia. He has given permission, the reaction against, colored people. Trump gave them permission to be bigoted and to display their bigotry, because he just went out and said it. If he wanted to use the N-word, he'd use the N-word. If he wanted to be transphobic, he'd be transphobic, and that he basically enabled the people who felt that way, but had suppressed it because they were worried about what the reaction might be. and he goes out and says it also. Now they feel emboldened, and I think that the No Kings rallies have emboldened people who are opposed to the sort of stuff that Trump is doing to stand up and speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's emboldened people to make a stance, and it's also meant, I think, that people no longer feel alone. You know, like
Yeah.
the No Kings rally meant that there were millions of people, hundreds of thousands in one particular location, whatever, and they no longer feel like they're isolated. They feel like they have a voice, and they've demonstrated through these elections that that voice is heard, and that en masse they can make significant changes that potentially, not always, because it's got to, Mamdani and Cheryl and Steinberger have to implement some of the things they've suggested.
They've got to do it.
But yeah, they have. Yeah, exactly. They have to deliver all of that at some level, at some point, and hopefully they will find the space to do that. But the point is that to win an election, you don't have to be soft. You can be aggressive. You can call it for what it is. You present a sense of honesty and integrity, I guess, and that was part of Mambani's proposal, was that he is a man of integrity, yet to be seen whether that's proved. But he's also likable. You know, is a great is very articulate.
Really good.
He reminds us. A lot of people have drawn comparisons with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Because of the way he does speak.
I mean,
So as an orator, he leaves friggin' Trump for dead, and most of the Republicans.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing you said that I don't agree with, and that's you used the word aggressive. He's assertive. There's a difference between.
Well, yes, I know. Yes, I know.
And aggressive. He's assertive.
I used to teach assertion, Avery. I know the difference.
Yeah, I know you. But I'm saying,
but I guess
assertive. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't being aggressive. To me, means that doing the sort of shit that Trump's doing about their nasty people, their deranged, delusional, all that, the sort of talk you hear from the dictator in chief.
No, but he was saying, I've got 4 words for you.
Yeah.
Turn up the volume.
Yeah.
So he found, I agree with you, but he found ways to express his assertion, if you like, in a forthright manner.
Yeah.
One that was direct and was pointed, to say the least. So
the point there is he wasn't threatening.
No, he wasn't. So I want to bring us to Avery. What do you think? All of this stuff we've now talked about. What do you think that means for Australia, Australian politics in particular, and kind of what makes us different from all of that? What do you think?
A big difference between us and the Americans is that we don't worship the almighty dollar. Everything that they do is about the dollar. That's a huge difference between us. I think that lessons that we can learn from what Mamdani has done, Mamdani in particular has done, is that we talk to the people, not at them. Does that make sense?
Yep, get that.
We talk to the people, we talk at the level that they want us to talk to them at. And that's not saying that people are stupid. They're not, right? It's just saying no point in talking to at a high level about taxation law, for example, when they don't understand taxation. People don't understand it. Talk to them at a level that they're going to understand. That's one thing that really jumped out from the way Mamdani conducted his campaign that we could use here. So that talking to the people is a thing that I said that Kamala did wrong in the election last year. She should be talking to the people, not at them. I think that the approach of treating the opponents the way they treat you is not this. They go low, we go high. They punch you in the guts, you punch them in the nuts, right?
Yep.
We should. That's you can't. You're
So
not.
I would now say that's aggressive, Avery.
What it is. You don't. But you don't fight. You don't fight. You're not going to win a fight against.
You don't physically fight. Yep.
You don't physically fight, but you're not going to.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a fight against a verbal bully. We'll say by saying, "Oh, it'd be really nice if you didn't talk like that." Right? Can you please stop saying that, or I'll ask you to please stop saying that again. Then I'll ask you to stop saying it again. Then I'll ask you to stop saying. That's the way that the Democrats approached the Republicans until people like Mamdani and Gavin Newsom came along. Right? And that's the way they talk here. Please don't do that, or I'll just say, please don't do that again. Sometimes you actually need to raise your voice.
Yes, or you need to have in some cases, you just need to have a smarter argument.
Yeah.
I think, when we look at Biden's debate with Trump, it's any idiot should be able to debate Trump, but Biden just wasn't up to it. Kamala Harris did a far better job because there's lots of things that Trump said that was just plain stupid.
Yeah.
And I guess, and so what's this comparison then? So why is it then that Trump would believe that if he was on the ballot, which he won't be ever again, but what this belief that somehow Trump is more influential, I guess. I know that's his ego talking as well, that he must be better than everybody else and all that sort of shit. But is it true, though, that to some extent, if he was on the ballot, I know you said earlier you didn't think so. There are lots of commentators that aren't too sure that if he was on the ballot, somehow he would have attracted more and more votes. Maybe not enough to win, but he certainly would have attracted more than what was there.
If you go by what happened in the midterms in 2018, he was on the ballot. Or he wasn't on the ballot, I should say.
No, he wasn't on the ballot.
And they got hammered.
Yeah.
When they what do they call this? Special elections, because a governor had kicked the bucket or something like that. He's not on the ballot, and they got hammered.
But he was back on the ballot in 2020.
In 2020, he was back in 2024. He was back on the ballot because he was running for president, right? And
so doesn't that mean then that if his name is on the ballot, or if there is another version of Trump, J.D. Vance, for example, that forget about Trump, let's call it J.D. Vance, same style, but are far more intelligent and far more articulate, would that have an impact as big, or would these arguments that we're putting forward about Mamdani and the others still hold, do you think?
I think that if people like Mamdani, it's a pity he can't run for president, that guy. If people like Mamdani was to, if people were to use the style that he used, I don't think it would make any difference whether it's Shady Vance or Trump or MAGA Mike. I don't think it would make any difference who it was, because they talk about what we've done, and they can't demonstrate that they've done anything apart from enrich the already rich, further enrich the already rich, actually, I lost my train of thought.
Because I wonder, because one of the other issues I think that before we get back to the impact on Australia is that the MAGA movement, one also could argue, has had a kick in the nuts. That the MAGA movement, perhaps the illusion was that the MAGA movement were more powerful than they actually are. That in the United States, when Gen Z get together and that they can topple them, that they are beatable. I guess that's the point.
Gavin Newsom summed it up perfectly when he said that Trump is weakness masquerading as strength. Trump is not the big tough guy that he claims to be. He's like all bullies. He's a pathetic little coward. He's not as what is it? Smart people don't tell you how smart they are. You know, good-looking people don't tell you how good-looking they are. Rich people don't tell you how rich they are. How's the rest of it go? You know, charlatans do, or con men do. You know, Trump is a con
Well,
man.
I guess wealthy people too don't necessarily tell you how wealthy they are either.
I don't think
they
they
don't
go
need to.
around and say. I've not really heard them saying, "Well, I've actually got $850 billion in my bank account." They just show it in different ways. You know, they let you know in different ways.
Or they drive a flash car, or they live in a
Yeah,
posh area, or whatever. I know, and you know, and I think there's a whole host of other issues here as well, which we could touch upon, and that is that while people are going hungry because of the shutdown, and Trump's out there at Mar-a-Lago dining away with the most pathetic. I forgot what they called that Halloween show. That one that was what he called it. What did he call it?
The Great Gatsby.
The Great Gatsby. That's right. That's right. And which is about depravity, but it's also about the decline. Great Gatsby is about the decline of depravity, and that the Great Gatsby dies in the end. So, or Gatsby dies in the end. So, yes, it's also about being out of touch, just not. They're like this complete, to me, Avery, there's this complete lack of understanding as to what's happening in the community. And I guess this is the point. And I guess this is the key point we can latch onto, is that these other candidates, the Democratic candidates, regardless of the fact they had different approaches, they also were in touch with what was happening in their communities and what were needed. Whereas Trump and the administration are so devoid of any concept of that. They're either interested in Trump's only interested in making money, traveling around the world, speaking to world leaders, making all these tariff deals that he doesn't make, and solving all the wars in the world, now number 8. So he's involved in all these other things, which basically the people in the US don't give a shit about.
No.
Most of those things, apart from tariffs, which are going to hit them next month, don't give a shit about.
So that's what the American people, what they're concerned about is how much is it costing me to put food on the table for my kids? How much does it cost me to get to work? Can I get a job? You know,
exactly.
Can I pay to? Am I going to go bankrupt because my wife's just been taken sick?
Yeah.
You know,
these are bread and butter. These are bread and butter issues.
Trump was talking before the election, last election, the November election, about the cost of groceries. And he's talking about groceries as though he'd invented the term. Right?
That's right.
I came up with this word groceries. It's a really, what a moron. He has never been into a supermarket in his fucking life. Right? The only time he might go into a supermarket would be, well, he doesn't drive, so it'd be, he doesn't drive anything except for a golf cart. So if he was to crash his golf cart into Walmart's, then he's been into a supermarket. If he's been into a supermarket, it would be to buy the building so he can demolish it and put another building there that nobody's interested in. But I don't think he's ever in his life done any shopping, had any concern about where's my next. Never had to worry about where's his next meal coming from. He's never gone to a store to buy the food.
But isn't that the interesting contrast, though, that you think that you've described him perfectly? This is who Trump is. He's never done any of those things. He has never been in contact with the average individual. Doesn't understand or empathise because he's so narcissistic and psychopathic. He couldn't do that, and that yet he's seen by MAGA group as being the hero, the person that's going to resolve all of these issues. Is the God-given or anointed one who can solve all their problems, and yet he's never experienced any of their problems whatsoever. He was born with a silver spoon stuck up his ass, for Christ's sake.
I mean, he lies about how he became wealthy as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I got a $1 million thing from my dad. No, he didn't. He got $400 million.
Yeah,
right. He didn't. He's never in his he's been wasting oxygen on this planet for 79 years and 3 months or 4 months. He has never in his life done anything that the average stiff in the street has needed to do, like go and buy their groceries, go and pay their rent, right?
Yeah.
Worry about the cost of, filling the car up. Never had to worry about it. And yet, how people can look at that man and say, "Oh, he understands. He's just like me. He understands exactly where I'm coming from. He has got no idea."
It doesn't make any sense to me either. But
the Republicans, none of them.
Clearly, there are a lot of morons in the United States. I think that's all we can say. And there's a statement here from JP, which says by 2028 the US will be serious. There will be serious economic trouble and little respect from the rest of the world. I think that's so true.
2028 for that to happen. Who respects the United States today?
Well, that's a really good point. No one that I know, unless you're Marinda Devine, but or unless you're Sky News.
Yeah, serious economic trouble. That's going to happen in the US long before 2028.
Yeah.
So the only hope they've got is that the Dems win the midterms with such a majority. They take the House and the Senate with such a majority that they could pass veto-proof legislation that Trump can do nothing about.
Yeah, right? And the other point here that Paul was raised, which I'll just bring up if I can, is that wrong one. Hold on, get myself in order here. Is that America is $38.2 trillion in debt? When is that going to hit? Is it 38 point?
To be fair,
we might need to verify that. Paul, I hasten to add,
that's a good point. They got $38.2 trillion in debt, but don't forget Trump, all by himself this year, has brought in $20 trillion. Right? We know that's true because he told us.
Yeah, for himself.
Only 18.2 million or whatever, not 38.2.
No, he's bought in. No, his tariffs brought in trillions of dollars, according to Trump.
Yeah,
trillions.
Yeah.
Well, someone's got to pay for that. Even if it was trillions, someone's got to pay for that at the end of the day.
If there was trillions, if $20 trillion had gone into the U.S. Treasury since he imposed his tariffs, that $20 trillion has come from the American people, not from China, not from Canada or Australia or Eswatini, or Heard and McDonald Islands where the penguins live. Right? It's come from the American people.
Exactly.
Trump is. I'd have had 5 words for Trump if I'd been given that speech that Mamdani gave last night. You are full of shit.
Oh, I like this one. I haven't heard this. What's this one though?
Yeah.
I'll just bring this up, Avery.
Yeah.
If it comes up. Have you heard Trump, Musk and Leavitt saying that the New York election was rigged?
Yeah.
It's par for the course whenever they lose. Trump comes playing 2024. I haven't heard that as yet.
Yeah.
Maybe I've been out. Have you heard that?
Yeah. It was a thing on. Somebody was talking about it on MSNBC today.
Oh right. I've been living another life, Avery. I haven't been watching.
You can't possibly have a Muslim win an election in the United States because it's a Christian country and they only elect Christians. That's why Ilhan Omar won in Minnesota or wherever it is. That's why Talib Rashid or whatever her name is. She's a Hindu. You can't have a Hindu winning,
Well, clearly one can. So just want to recap on the issue around what this means for Australia, and then we'll move on. I just want to move on after that to One Nation, Pauline Hanson, and the coalition. So just briefly, so what I think this means for Australian is that we need to devise a different form of political candidate. We need to find more young people in Australia as well who are dynamic. When one looks, and I'll tell you what, I watch a lot of Question Time, and I look across the. I'm trying to look at this quite rationally. When I look across the government side, number one, there's a lot of women. 50% now are women, so that's a plus. There's a lot of young people on that side of politics as well. A lot of young people, but I don't think we hear enough from some of those young people. I know that the Labor Party endeavour to give them questions to ask, Dorothy Dix's to ask and stuff, and that's fine, but we don't, their profile should be higher. Yet when we look across to the Liberal Party side, there are a splattering of women and a lot of older men telling us what to do. And I think that's the difference. But we should be hearing more about the dynamics that sits. So in Question Time to Avery, they're asked a lot about cost of living and energy and that sort of shit. So that's a conversation they're having all the time. It's all the opposition can ask them about all of that. And to be fair to Labor, they're doing at least something about that, even though one could argue it's not as effective. And of course, the other one is net zero and renewables, is a conversation that they seem to be wanting to have all the time. But there's it lacks a dynamic approach, I reckon. It lacks some sort of gutsy, feverish, enthusiastic response. Apart from Chris Bowen, who spits chips every time he talks about energy, and he blasts the Liberal Party. It's bloody seriously, if you haven't watched Question Time and Chris Bowen, watch it. It's the most entertaining thing you can watch on your computer or on TV, I reckon. But what do you think? Is there something we need in candidates, or the type of political environment that we need to be able to develop as a result of the lessons that we've learned? Or is it all okay just the way it is?
Well, no, we definitely need to have the AOCs, right? We definitely need to have people like that. We definitely need to have candidates that are like Mamdani in this country. What we shouldn't be doing is saying, let's get rid of all the grey hairs, right? All the old folks like you and me, get rid of that lot. Don't let them into government because they've got experience which somebody who's 25 doesn't have, right? So we. But
do you think, Avi, do you think we've lost an Adam Brown and the other guy I can't forget, that was in the House of Reps as well? That was the housing dude. Do we need people like that, do you think? Because they were young and they were relatively dynamic, I guess.
They were young and relative. Yeah, I mean, Adam Banton, he was Greens leader, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I should not really criticise him because when I did the political compass thing, I'm over that way as well. I was quite surprised that I was over by the Greens. Yeah, we need young people like that. We need young, dynamic people. But what we don't want to do is replace the older people who got the experience, and just for the sake of having a youthful-looking parliament.
So would we ever have a Zoran Mamdani type person leading a political party, leading a major political movement in Australia?
He is what? I think he's 38 years old.
35.
35. So he's not a grey hair. He's not a.
No, he's not exactly. He's not exactly. When you compare it to our age group, Avery, he's only a baby.
Yeah, he's a child. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's less than half of our age. Right? We're both 74. He's less than half of our age. We need a lot more people like that sort of age, not the 20-year-olds, right? Because they don't have the lived experience. But people in their mid-30s, late 30s, people up to their 50s and that's still younger than what we've generally got in Parliament or in the Senate in the USA. average age is about
They're
70.
80. It's something bizarre, isn't it? Yeah, I agree. And there's quite a few youngish people in. I think I don't know what our average is. It'd be worth looking it up. The other the other point too that you raised, which I think is an interesting one, and we need to talk about perhaps, is also that how can I put it? That people will argue about the lack of experience. Someone pointed out that Andrew Cuomo had the only experience that he ever had was working in politics, under his father and whatever, and holding. He was Attorney General for a while, I think, of New York. But it's been political, I guess. And then you look at Donald Trump, and I was thinking, well, what in the hell has Donald Trump done? He's run a family business. He has a minuscule staff of about 5 or 6 or something working for his office. So he's never managed, a country or a large corporation, like Microsoft or whatever. He's managed ostensibly a small business that made him a lot of money, which he blew most of, I hasten to add. But nevertheless, and he was bankrupt 6 times. So in terms of a candidate based on experience, Donald Trump would be that person whom you'd say, mate, you don't cut it.
Yeah.
But he did.
Absolutely. He doesn't cut it because of his age. He doesn't cut it because he's stupid. Right?
That's true.
He doesn't cut it for me because he's a pathological liar. For me, he doesn't cut it because he's a malignant narcissist. He's incompetent. He doesn't cut it on lots of different levels as far as I'm concerned. But his lack of experience in managing a big business, he is a prime example, I think, of how to create a small business. Put a moron in charge of a big one.
to turn it into a small business or a non-existent business at all. That's a good analogy. I like that. Yeah.
We need.
But what is it? But Avery, what does it tell?
People, we need. When I say young, I'm 74, 75 in just 4 months' time or 5 months' time. Everybody's a baby to me. But we need people in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s in government, not people in their 70s, 80s, 90s. Right?
But isn't it true though that those people can learn?
The younger ones.
Yeah. That if you're full of enthusiasm and whatever, it'd be like, I reckon, being appointed. I don't know, a young person being appointed as a chief executive officer of a multi-million-dollar company. It happens because those people have got some senses to, where the company's going, and they have the ethos and all that sort of shit.
Yeah,
but
the problem that I see is we've got far too many people that are our age and older in the government.
Yeah, true.
We've got far too few people who are, in their late 20s, their early 30s that are coming into it. We need, back in the United States, Chuck Grassley is 92. How long is he going to last? He's going to run for election again in 2028. He's 92 right now. There should be not term limits, age limits. If you're 70.
Yeah, what's the name of the ex-National guy is now independent, white-haired guy in the House of Representatives. Oh God, I've got a mental blank. I know him. I should know him so well. What's that? Yeah,
national leader here.
It was. It wasn't his national leader, but he's a Queenslander. Someone tell me if you wouldn't mind. Who am I thinking of? Anyway, his is close to 80, I think, now, and he sits on the front bench, and his son's in politics in Queensland as well. Yeah. It'll come. Someone please tell me who am I thinking of? Yeah. But anyway, he asks the most bizarre questions, and it's about time he left because it's almost as catting. Yes, Catter. Yeah. That's it. Thank you very much. Did someone just bring it up? Thanks. I don't know why I had a mental blank around him. But
I think,
yeah, he's a man way beyond. I mean, give up your seat, mate. Put your son in. Who cares? But get out, because he asks the most bizarre
yeah,
questions in question time you can imagine, and is kind of losing it.
yeah,
But yes, Catter. Thanks, JP. But yeah, you're right. Those and maybe that's the point. There should be a retirement age.
yeah.
Maybe we should make the retirement age 60, something like that. Get them out relatively young, so they're conscious that they've got to get young blood involved. Or maybe that should just be a party policy. You can't be a politician beyond a certain age, which would encourage much younger people to take up the opportunity, I guess. So there's lots of things. Anyway, I just want to let's go to we've talked about that enough, I think. Pauline Hanson. So, Pauline Hanson. So I thought this was it. I'll just read this bit out to you so that people could know what we're talking about. Oops, I've got the wrong screen set up. Pardon me. I pressed the wrong one, I think. No,
Yeah.
I've got my buttons confused here. I need to reset that somehow. I'll just read it out.
Use the expression "mad as a catter."
Yeah. So, One Nation leader Pauline Hanson will rally against the coalition and lavish praise on Donald Trump as she rubs shoulders with the US president in her orbit at a 20. So it's a 25. It's a 25,000. 25. It's a 25,000 head conservative forum at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, and I'm thinking, Avery, who's paying the $25,000? For Pauline to attend?
Pauline is very much like Trump, so it'll be the rubes that vote for her.
But what do we need? Do we need someone like Pauline Hanson expressing Australia, what appears to be Australian views, to a bunch of MAGA morons in Mar-a-Lago, and letting them know that this is the way Australians think and believe? It's crazy. It's embarrassing, don't you think?
She's going to say things like, "This is what Australians believe," and we know that it's not true. And when I say we, I mean whether it's you and me, or it's the Liberal Party, the Labour Party, the Greens. We all know she's full of shit.
Yeah, true.
We all know that she's a racist, a homophobic bigot.
Yeah.
Right? We all, and I think that the way the Liberal Party's going, people, or there's a national heading her way, it's going to be bye-bye Liberals, bye-bye Nationals, and then eventually bye-bye One Nation.
Yeah. Andy Burton says here, I wonder if I can bring it up. That's all we need is a female racist. I don't know if that's a... Hold on. I'm just thinking about that, Andy. Is that a misogynistic comment? Or is that a comment about...
I was thinking about making a misogynistic comment. I'm not sure she... I was going to say I'm not sure she's female, but I'm not even sure she's human.
Well, I don't know how we could rate that comment, Avery, but if I was editing this, I would edit it out. The other thing too is it says in this article, which I can't bring out because I haven't got the screens organised. Anyway, it says Australia has become... This is a quote from Pauline. It says Australia has become an economic and social tinderbox that was created by successive Labor and coalition governments. She also went on to say, it's wonderful to be in America with a re-energised, strong and patriotic leader who has the best interest of his people at heart. We just talked about what a load of bullshit that is. In just 1 year, President Trump has turned this country around. Illegal migrants are being rounded up by ICE and sent home in remarkable numbers, she went on to say. And so... and it goes on to talk about her history around talking about Asians back in the 1990s, 1996, I think it was. So, yes, Pauline Hanson representing Australia in front of people in the United States, President Trump in particular, is a freaking embarrassment.
Yeah. She is an embarrassment to this country. She is, as I said, she is a hateful moron. She is a racist, homophobic. She's probably transphobic. She's probably xenophobic.
Oh, she doesn't understand what that is.
I know she doesn't.
Please
Says
explain.
she should go back to running a chip shop.
Yeah.
That's what she did before she got into politics. Ran a chip shop.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she should go
And
back.
she's made.
She might have been good at that. I don't know, but she's certainly no use as a politician.
Yeah, hold on. She's made millions. She was locked up for fraud. Remember?
Yeah.
At one point in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because she embezzled some money from One Nation. And this is, will she? She will never ever. She will never.
Say that carries embezzlement carries a criminal penalty of more than 1 year.
Yeah, she challenged it. She challenged it and was let off.
Oh, right.
Didn't she?
Well, I thought she was convicted.
She was convicted, I think.
Yeah.
But you're saying because it's more than 1 year, she couldn't stand for Parliament.
Yeah.
No, she was exonerated somewhere along the line. The court found. Right. I think that was a story. I'm sure there's somebody there that.
Probably JP.
So, hey Tony, you seriously need an office assistant secretary to manage your screens. I've said that before. You would. I tell you what. One day, Avery, I'm going to take a photograph from behind. I have 3 lights, 4 screens. I've got a split screen on my left, which has got Wirecast, and then I've got the live feed coming off. If I have Facebook, I'm really stuffed at the same time. And then I've got a screen on my right that has got the other stuff that I'm reading, the news items, and I've got one in the middle that's got all the questions coming through.
Yeah.
And you're right. Given all of that, I need someone else to drive this friggin' show. And this is the reason why everybody...
Tony?
I've just muted myself, have I? No, I should be fine. I'm still coming through. Maybe it's your end.
Here. You said that's
and people
the reason
still...
why. Silence.
No, it's still going through according to I can tell. Let me know what others think.
According to my ears, it didn't come. Whatever you were saying did not come out. Did not come out of my speech.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Maybe I did mute myself. I apologise. All I'm saying is, Avery, I've got all this stuff, and you're right. I do need sound just cut out, back on. Thanks, Sean. I think I pressed the wrong button. That's another reason why I need somebody, Avery. I've got Stream Decks. I've got a couple of Stream Decks here, and I'm punching buttons left, right, and centre. So all I can say is, folks, subscribe to my channel. Do a chat thingo. What do they call it? What?
Super chat.
Super chat. Do a super chat. I'm splitting my super chats with Avery. So the more super chats you give me, the more I can split with Avery, because I make, as I said in a post not all that long ago, Avery makes nothing. I make very little. Help us. Do as many super chats. Someone gave me a super chat the other day for $20, and I'm giving half of that to Avery. So if it was $100 and we're doing it for $50, that would be good, Avery, wouldn't it? There needs to be something.
Yeah.
At the moment we're getting nothing. So the other thing too, we've been going for an hour now, believe it or not. The final thing we want to talk about, I think, is the coalition, and what all of that means in terms of any pending election. Okay, I'm going to ask you a simple question here, Avery. What do you think that hold on, how can I put it? What do you think the coalition are doing that means they're continually shooting themselves in the foot?
The coalition,
and I'll give you half an hour to describe it all.
Well, I don't think that's going to be enough time. The major thing that they're doing is they cannot get away from this thing about net zero. They are. You got one group saying we've got to abandon net zero. There's another group saying, I don't know what we should be sticking to. Maybe we modify it slightly. And 60-odd% of the population are saying we need to go to net zero by, what is it, 2035? Right? They're
2050.
2050, was it? I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. I heard somebody say 2035.
Yeah, I think the Paris Agreement was 2050. No, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just heard somebody talking about 2035 to do with net zero. So I wasn't. That's why I said I'm not sure exactly what it was. But they're talking about net zero. Should we do it? Should we not do it? Should we abandon it? And they said, oh, we should abandon it. And yet 2/3 of the country want us to carry on down that path.
Yeah.
To me, they keep on doing that. All they're doing is turning more and more people away from them. And then when
you nailed it, mate. I think you just nailed it. The reality, that's what I've been thinking too. That the majority of Australians don't give a fuck about net zero. Seriously. They don't. They're interested in paying their energy bills, whether they can buy a home and whether the food's going to cost more tomorrow. That's what they're interested in.
I think I said it to you earlier, or it might have been yesterday, the way the Liberals and the Nationals are going, at the next election, they're being so negative and so not talking to the people that in the next election, I can see that after the election, they'd be able to hold their caucus meetings. Remember, I said it in a Tarago.
Tarago, that's right. It did. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting that point, isn't it, where even I think the rusted ons are no longer rusted on.
Yeah.
Those people, like my father, who would have voted for them no matter what, they're thinking, maybe I don't like this group anymore.
They're turning too much towards Trump-style politics.
Yeah. So, Avery,
learned after the drubbing that they got in May this year, that you lurch to the right, all you're going to do is you're going to trip over your feet and fall down.
True. And
I
think that's an important lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we need, the people want a progressive version. Back to Mamdani again. They want to see some sort of progress, or someone who's at least advocating for a progress that will benefit them rather than themselves, oligarchs and others. Yeah. Now, Avery, one final, before we go, which we've got to go in a second, I've got to offer you just one summary of what we've talked about today. Go for it.
One summary. Lurching to the right is going to be fail for the Liberal Party. Further to the right is going to be, for the coalition here, it's going to be fail for them, I think. I can see them losing even more bigly in the next federal election here. As far as the United States is concerned, Mamdani I think he is a fabulous politician. He is a person that I think it's sad that he can't run for president, because I think he would make a brilliant president. He is so articulate. He's promised a lot. I'm not sure that he can deliver all of it, right? Because he's promised so much. But if he delivers half of what he's promised, he'll go down as one of the greatest mayors that they've ever had. That's it.
Thanks, mate. So I just need to put it. One comment came in: Lib's meeting held in the treehouse. I thought that was.
Yeah.
I thought that probably sums it up. So thanks, Avery. I'm just going to do my summary and then we will move on. I'll catch you at the end of this. So thanks, Avery, for being part of this again, because it does provide an opportunity for me not to talk to myself, which I do on a Tuesday. And so I'm trying to do more and more live feeds every day, and primarily because I kind of like them. They're fun things to do, and they're even more fun to do when I'm doing it with someone else like Avery. So that's why I appreciate Avery coming along. We both think very similarly, and we can have a conversation that hopefully is fun and energizes me, because the sessions I do on a Tuesday when I'm on my own, I find it's sometimes just hard to motivate yourself when you're talking to yourself in a screen and bringing up a lot of stuff. But what I do try to do on a Tuesday is sort of encapsulate most of the news items that I've been reading throughout the week. And bring them all together and have a 30 to 40 minute conversation with you. So Tuesday, 3 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time to hear what we have to say. I do need to say to everybody though, please subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for further notifications, put in a super chat, spend a cup of coffee for Avery and myself would be a great idea. I would really appreciate it. And I know that Avery would, because we don't get paid for any of this shit. We just have a good time doing it. Thanks, everybody, for being with me. Take care. Look after yourselves. And more importantly, make sure that the people that you love are safe.